Good evening, everybody. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blubworld's 4th Global Education Meet. Before we officially start this call, just some information for all of you. Due to untimely rains in different parts of India and some मौसम की वजह से disruption, a lot of people are coming in and but not able, we're not able to upgrade them to a panelist. So थोड़ा सा ऐसा हो सकता है कुछ लोग बीच में untimely join करें. So we'll have to accordingly accommodate them. क्योंकि 2-3 बार कोशिश कर ली बट वो टेक्निकल इशू कुछ आ ही रहा है. So let's formally begin क्योंकि 4 बज गई है. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blubworld's 4th Global Education Meet and the 123rd roundtable. In the last 122 roundtables, more than 1,500 to 2,000 school leaders have participated on this very platform, shared their ideas, opinions, observations and innovations in the K-12 space, or to put it simply, what new are they doing in their arenas of work every single day. इतनी सारी बातचीत में से we have taken out somewhere around 500 amazing ideas, published them, and उसमें से 100 ideas ऐसे हैं जिन पर अभी दुनिया भर के करीबन 6,500 schools experimentation करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं to see whether they are scalable, whether they are feasible, and how much longevity do these ideas have. The simple motive behind creating this platform was to create an idea repository for the education sector focusing on the K-12 space. कि K-12 space में अगर आप कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हैं, innovative कर रहे हैं, तो वो best practice, वो idea दूसरे भी सीख सकें और implement कर सकें. एक ऐसी co-learning space जहां idea की democracy हो. So I hope वो काम हम थोड़ा-थोड़ा तो कर पा रहे हैं. And today when we talk to you, we'll be talking about restarting education, innovative strategies for the new session. Now when I say restarting education, बहुत सारे लोगों के लिए ये एक offensive term हो जाता है कि साहब education बंद तो हुई नहीं थी, तो आप education को चालू कैसे करेंगे? So the point is, education बंद नहीं हुई थी, thanks to all of you. But most importantly, जब इतना बड़ा धक्का education को लगा, तो एक हम सबको नया chance मिला है कि हम education को redefine कर पाएं, जिसकी जरूरत भी अब है. तो इसीलिए हम इसको कह रहे हैं restarting education. Let's think with our perceptions and prejudices aside, and let's write a new page of understanding for education. So before I begin, just some basic rules of the platform so that you enjoy it more. This is a bilingual platform, तो आप अंग्रेजी या हिंदी में से कोई भी भाषा इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. भाषा is not a challenge. Don't make language a barrier. The priority is the idea. Secondly, इस कॉल में हम लोग कोशिश करते हैं to bring in the maximum variety of people with variety of geography, understanding, exposure, ताकि हम ना तो एक elitist platform बन जाएं और ना ही हम एक tier 3 platform बन जाएं. हमें एक ऐसा जगह बननी है, एक ऐसी safe space बननी है जहां हर तरीके के आइडिया को एटलीस्ट थोड़ा सा अप्रिसिएशन और अगर अच्छा हो तो बहुत सारा रेप्लिकेशन मिल जाए कि वो आइडिया बहुत सारे लोग इस्तेमाल कर सकें. सो एंड thirdly and the most important thing, this is a timed platform. तो ये स्पीच मैराथन नहीं है, ये स्पीच का स्प्रिंट है. 100 मीटर की रेस है, एक लिमिटेड टाइम है जिसमें आपको दौड़ जाना है. अपना बेस्ट फुट आगे रखिए ताकि आप लोग इस पूरे 60 मिनटों को जी भर के एंजॉय कर पाएं और किसी का भी आइडिया मिस आउट ना हो. So thank you people once again for joining in and being a part of the 123rd roundtable and being a part of the Blubworld's 4th Global Education Meet. Before we start, आज इस फॉर्मेट में एक थोड़ा सा अमेजिंग सा चेंज है. उस चेंज को शायद आप लोग एंजॉय भी करेंगे. और मैं इस कॉल को शुरू करूं उससे पहले एक बड़ी छोटा सा एक स्टेटमेंट जो मैंने भी अभी कुछ ही दिन पहले पढ़ा, बट उसने मुझे काफी इंपैक्ट किया. तो आई होप आप लोगों के लिए भी थोड़ी सी अच्छी स्टार्ट होगी इस पूरे डिस्कशन के लिए. अगर आप सबने विक्रम वेताल की स्टोरी सुनी हो, विच इज अ गुड पार्ट ऑफ द इंडियन माइथोलॉजी, तो उसमें एक ही चीज डिपिक्ट करी है उस माइथोलॉजी में, दैट विक्रमादित्य द किंग, विक्रमादित्य द किंग does not learn from the stories that Vetal tells him. He rather learns from the questions that he asks. और अगर शायद आप अपनी जिंदगी पे रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगे तो आपकी सबसे ज्यादा लर्निंग्स जवाबों से कभी नहीं आई हैं, वो हमेशा सवालों से आई हैं. So I hope there are some good questions that we raised today and some amazing innovations that we share. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blubworld's 4th Global Education Meet. And आज के हमारे chair is somebody who brings in a very varied experience, और जिनको शायद अगर आप मैक्सिमम लोग यहाँ पे स्कूल लीडर्स हैं तो ही इज अ स्कूल लीडर रेज्ड टू द पावर 100 एटलीस्ट, क्योंकि वो इतने सारे स्कूल लीडर्स को, इतने सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस को मैनेज कर रहे हैं देश भर में, और वो भी तब से जब से इंडिया हैज बीन प्राउड ऑफ द फादर ऑफ द नेशन महात्मा गांधी. उनकी ऐसी सोसाइटी है या जिस सोसाइटी ने उन स्कूल्स को एस्टैब्लिश किया है जिनके शायद फाउंडिंग मेंबर्स में महात्मा गांधी खुद थे. So a very warm welcome to the chair for the roundtable today, Mr. Raghav Podar, who's the chairman of Podar Education from Mumbai, Maharashtra. और आज आपके moderator राघव जी होंगे, मैं नहीं. So over to Raghav ji to now take this roundtable forward. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Daksh, and for a very, very warm welcome and really setting the context right. And I love the example, the analogy that you gave of Vikram and Betal, because it's so true, not only in our lives, but even in our students' lives. We teach our children how to answer the questions, but do we teach them how to question the answer? So wonderful context to set this up on. And I also really like the example that you gave of restarting in this context means redefining education, because all of the wonderful educators who are present here as panelists, as well as those who are watching, have not let education be stopped because of the pandemic. There was no lockdown on learning. So hats off to all the educators out there who are watching and who are going to be speaking today, that you'll have kept the education flag flying high. And people say COVID warriors are the health workers. Of course they are. But educators are no less COVID warriors because they have the future of the nation in their hands. With that, I'd like to start off. Now, the education system of the entire world, the way education is delivered to students is at the cusp of a dimensional shift. The way curriculum was transacted up until now has been disrupted by this pandemic, and we can ensure it's for the better. The way this pandemic has hit us, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that digital transformation is changing the way education is being delivered in classrooms across the world. More importantly, though, is the purpose aligned with the way these trends are emerging? In this hot pursuit of the latest in virtual learning environments and AR, VR, AI, or Twidla, iDrew, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and other digital transformations, have we missed the woods for the trees? It's not a question of if, but when. At least some of these technologies will become mainstream in schooling across the world. And why do I say that? Because even after we emerge out of this pandemic, the new normal that people talk about is going to be blended, it's going to be hybrid, or it's going to be phygital. What is phygital? A mix of physical and digital. But the fundamental question still lies, is are we serving the purpose of education? Getting our children ready with the 21st century skills that they're going to require in their lifetimes? Or are we just finding fancier ways of lesson delivery through e-pedagogues? With automation, technology, and the Industrial Revolution 4.0, we don't need our humans or our children to be second-class robots, but instead be first-class humans. What are the traits that are inherent to humans which no technology can replace or do a better job of? And what is the role of the educator in such times? Is it just of being an information delivery person or a content delivery boy or content delivery lady? No, the role of the educator has moved from being that sage on the stage to a guide on the side, from being that gatekeeper, security guard of knowledge, to being a facilitator of learning. The role of the educator is simply to be a coach and a mentor to facilitate learning, because technology can easily deliver content, but it's only a human teacher that can inspire, encourage, and spark that imagination, curiosity, and inquiry inside a child's brain. We can ill afford another education system that tests students in and prepares students for skills that they won't even require in their 21st century lifetimes. This is the time of transition where those trends are still forming and evolving. And it is incumbent upon us, especially the education thought leaders, influencers, to shoulder this responsibility, to steer this evolution of education in the direction in which is going to truly benefit our 21st century students the most. Our posterity is going to look back at this time as one of those defining moments that comes once in centuries. And they're going to either thank us for this direction, for the direction in which we took this evolution of education, or curse us for not rising up to the occasion when we had the opportunity. It's the first time in the history of mankind that you have schools from across the world. It doesn't matter if you're a school in Montreal, Madrid, Mumbai, or Melbourne. We are all confronting the same questions and trying to solve the same problems. Now, what are those 21st century skills we all once sagaciously foretold on the ramparts of the biggest education conclaves? The ability to be agile, flexible, to be resilient, to cope with limited resources, to build skills of crisis management, self-reliance, and independence, and making our children critical thinkers, problem solvers. Now, which of these skills do our tests, our board exams measure? Unfortunately, none, or very, very few. This is the time we have to truly build, imbibe in our students these skills, and even in ourselves. And they say every challenge is an opportunity. Yes, it is. That's a cliche. But it's only an opportunity if you make use of it. We need to get rid of that myopic, short-sighted outlook, which believes that, we are in a year of tragedy. 2020 was just about adversity. Yes, it was adversity. But adversity has the ability of eliciting talents that lay dormant within us during prosperous times. So never waste a good crisis, because a crisis forces us to grow, and the time has come to wake us up from the slumber of rudimentary pedagogy. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to the next speaker. The co-chair is Miss Amrita Rajpal, who is the founder of EduLearn Grow, the co-founder of the ABCD show, Mumbai. Over to you, Miss Amrita.
Thank you so much, Mr. Podar. And I resonate with a lot of things that you're saying. Okay, a little bit about myself before I start. I've been teaching for 22 years, but I've been learning my whole life. So, the whole world is waiting to restart. And the topic today is so relevant. Restarting education and looking at innovative strategies for the new session. So across India, we're facing daunting challenges, difficult decisions for restarting preschools or schools as the COVID-19 pandemic continues. As education leaders prepare for what schooling is going to look like in 2021, I want to thank Blub World for finding an opportunity to identify evidence-based practices that will enable us to seize this moment and now rethink education in ways that can transform learning for both the educator as well as the student. We've got the NEP after 34 years. Our previous school design was established to implement mass education on an assembly line model. It was organized just to prepare children for jobs and not for life. Anyway, this pandemic has acted as a catalyst to the change, and we've realized that society and the economy both demand more challenging sets of skills. And it's this time to use this disruption, just like Mr. Podar said, let's reinvent our systems of education. And I want to share some thoughts on innovative strategies for the new session. I strongly believe that the education system starts with the educator and not with the child. So I launched the ABCD show, Amrita and Bela on Child Development. And it's a it's a program. It's an online platform where eminent experts share best practices. We discuss mental health. We discuss wellness, we give parenting tips, we explore tools and strategies to teach children in the early years effectively. And this has led to a contributing of ideas, knowledge, best practices, and has enabled all stakeholders, that is the parents, the teachers, the children, the school owners, everyone connected with children to upskill themselves. So I urge everyone to become part of groups like this, like the ABCD Thought Leaders group or any other group that there is, and share ideas and share all your innovations that you're thinking of. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all the other dynamic speakers over here today, so we can get on with the next.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amrita, for a very insightful point out there. And I'd like to now welcome the next speaker, who is from outside India, from all the way from Kathmandu in Nepal, Mr. Gopal Datta, who's the Vice Principal of Millsbury International School. Mr. Datta, let's hear your thoughts.
Good evening and namaskar to everybody. This is Gopal here from Kathmandu, Vice Principal Academics, Millsbury International School. I'd like to thank you all, and I'm already excited because I'm going to learn so much, and I would like to thank Blub World for bringing this opportunity for me, at least, to learn so much from some of the most enlightened educationists in the country and abroad. Yeah, I would take a clue from Mr. Podar's and Ms. Amrita Rajpal's words. in last 9 months, this pandemic has opened our eyes. It was indeed an eye opener. What, as a teacher, as an administrator, what we have felt is that our students, we have discovered a new face of our students that we had never done earlier. The new level of cooperation, coordination, and collaboration. So much so that they wrote well coordinated, pirated tests. And I took it positively because at least they coordinated, they collaborated, and then the marvelous result was ultimate answer was a masterpiece. Somebody contributed some points and they all, online cooperation, collaboration, and coordination, and ultimately it was a masterpiece that came to our table. Then it got me thinking, so why can't you do such things? Because I believe the line that we have been following in India and most of Asian countries has been a little faulty. Throughout the schooling, you tell them to compete, cutthroat competition, the top, rank, cut off, 98%, 99%, such and such. But the surprising thing, they got a shock when they, enter the professional world. Those same children are expected to collaborate, cooperate, and coordinate, surprisingly not to compete. And then they're at sea. They don't know. Like I have been all my life, I have been taught to compete. Therefore, my earnest request to all the educationists, let's take this opportunity and let's learn from this, because I believe the pandemic is far from being over and many more pandemics are in the pipeline to follow in the future. Therefore, let's take a clue from our learning, and this is high time we made a few changes to our existing curriculums. Let's make it more collaborative, more cooperative, and more coordinated. And one line slogan for my dear students and to all you educators: compete with yourself, but learn how to cooperate and coordinate with others. Because the competition in the future is going to be with yourself, not with others. Because if you compete, we have competed with nature and see the result. We have competed with others and see the result. But we have never competed with ourselves. Second point, I think now I'm going to personally change this in my school. I'm going to follow a collaborative evaluation, group-wise evaluation, not an individual evaluation. Let me see how they did their tests, if they can do the same thing in the real life. Therefore, nobody loses. It's a win-win situation. So I think it's time for us to go for grade evaluation, not an individual evaluation. I would like to thank you all for lending me ears, and I would wrap up with this line again: compete with yourself, but collaborate, coordinate, and cooperate with others. Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. The race is long, but in the end, it's only with yourself. So very well put, Gopalji, and very good points of moving towards a more collaborative space, because that is what the skills that the children are going to require in their lifetimes after they graduate school. So why are we sitting and measuring and testing memorization and regurgitation? With that, I'd like to take it on to the next speaker. The next speaker is from Kerala, Miss Geeta Lakshmi Satyanathan, the principal of Rani Public School from Kozhikode in Kerala. Ma'am, over to you.
Good evening, all of you. And thank you, Blackball, for giving me this opportunity. And in Kerala, I think the weather is very bad and it is going to rain and thunder is there. So I'll finish my talk as soon as possible before I lose my connectivity. And I feel that altogether when we come back to when already I think we all have started schooling physically. In Kerala, it is 10th and 12th standard have already started in the schools. The challenge, what I feel is when we are coming back to the new normal, I feel that for the last 10 days when I'm watching my teachers, there is a tendency to go back to the old one, old normal. The blended learning is the boon or is the opportunity we all received due to the pandemic. But I feel that there are teachers who are trying to go back to the old one, and the students are somewhere sitting somewhere in the middle. This is only a beginning, and for the last 1 week's assessment I am seeing. So I think as school leaders, all of us have to see to it that The opportunity, the platform, what we got due to the pandemic, it should be actually maintained. That teachers should be really made aware of the fact that because of the COVID, whatever we received, whatever we got, the opportunity, the online, these things are going to be actually a big change maker in the field of education. So in no way they should go back to the old one. So that one challenge I feel all the school leaders may face. I felt it for the last only the 8-9 days classes. I felt some teachers are straight away, they are not even using the digital board, they are straight away going to the green board. So I haven't spoken to them, I'm just watching them. Next week I'll talk to them. That is one challenge. Next I feel is because of this pandemic, the online classes and all these tech savvy teachers, all the teachers have become tech savvy. I feel the remedial teaching can be done in a better way because most days the problem is in Kerala. The thing is, even most of the time the weather will not be good. We won't be able to keep the students back to school, but because of this new normal, we will be able to do the remediation with the help of the remedial teaching, with the help of the parents and the teachers in an online mode. After the school has physically started also, there are so many challenges, there are so many things what all we have to face. So once again, I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And yes, very, very pertinent points that this has worked. The pandemic, the lockdown worked as a catalyst to ensure that we take that leapfrog or the springboard jump into the future of education. And it's critical that when schools do get back to the normal, we don't go back to old chalk and talk or rote style of teaching and learning. We must ensure that we do take the benefits out of this. And very rightly pointed out that a lot of teachers also found hidden talents inside them that they did not know existed because of this lockdown. People who did not think that I'm not tech savvy, computers and me don't get along. Well, when you're forced into that position, a lot of teachers have found out talents of theirs that we did not know existed. So thank you for those points. Our next speaker is Mrs. Nuzhat Khan, Principal of Aspi Nutan Academy from Mumbai in Maharashtra. Mrs. Khan, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Podar. It's an honor to be on the platform with you, one of the pioneers and stalwarts in the field of education in Mumbai, I must say. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. I have learned a lot from you speakers, and I just have a few points that as a humble educationist, I'd like to share with the others on this platform. A big question once the school starts, the do's and the don'ts. We yet do not have a very clear picture in Mumbai from the HRD ministry about what protocols need to be followed in order to begin education. However, we educationists have come up with some kind of strategies at our institute at Aspi Nutan Academy. The first thing that I'd like to share here is post-school reopening after the pandemic, we'd like to come up with blended learning or an hybrid approach. Not that we're not using a hybrid approach now. We have modules also going, recorded modules, along with teaching methodology. But once the school reopens, how are we sure that the numbers would be the same as they were in 2019-20? None of us are sure. There is a lot of ambiguity with regards to numbers, a lot of perplexed parents. There are question marks before everyone as to whether I should send my child to school or not. Is this vaccine same? Is this vaccine safe? Is it the same as the other vaccines which are 100% disease? There are so many questions running in the mind of the people, and they don't know whether they are certain whether the school would be a safe place for the child to learn. In such a situation, as schools, we must open our doors, not just to physical classrooms, but leave some of the doors open to online learning for those who cannot come to the school. Let us respect the parents. So if we cannot make new modules, record new modules, and make new PPTs for those who do not wish to come to school. Let us have online recorded modules. The modules, the lessons that we are delivering in a normal classroom can be recorded using multimedia, and the same thing, post the class is over, can be uploaded on the respective platform that the school is using. That is what we have decided, that we will be uploading the same classroom teaching. We'll be recording it and uploading it for those who do not wish to join school, thereby reaching out to 100% students, providing education to all. The second thing that I'd like to speak about is well-being and discipline, where we are still contemplating whether to open schools or not. There are schools in Singapore which have opened from August. So where are we? I'm in country with maximum young population, yet not disciplined. So the first thing that we need to imbibe in our students is well-being and discipline. This should be the talk for the day. Once the school students come back, we should make sure that they are disciplined to become responsible citizens for future. During this lockdown period, we had a collaboration with the UN program on climate change, and we train the children about the challenges the climate is facing and what Mother Earth is asking. If all the children are imbibed with discipline, they are disciplined well, then running the school will not be a problem. If Singapore can open it, we can also open if we follow the protocols with 0% deviation. And the third quick point that I'd like to mention is assessments. Now, if students don't come back to school, how do we conduct the assessments? Paper pen test is definitely going to remain. Even the ICSE Council has said we are not going to have any examination online. So if we are certain about paper pen test, let the 20 marks be challenging for the students. Why are we not promoting? This was an eye-opener for us. IT, it was an eye-opener for all of us. We need to be computer equipped. Computer literacy is a must. So schools must open their doors to new kind of teaching learning practices and encourage more of project-based learning for the students.
I'm sorry, the organizers have kept a very strict time limit. I'm very sorry about that. So it's about 3 minutes per speaker. They've given about 30 seconds plus another 30 seconds over that. So to the remaining speakers, I know everyone has a lot of wonderful points, but due to the paucity of time, the organizers are constrained to mute you. I'm sorry about that, but very good, valid points. That especially I like the point that you said that Singapore has started school since August and all of that. Age is a metric for most countries of when you're starting, and the Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, they are also using age as a metric, but they are starting schools for the preschoolers first, with the logic that the preschoolers need, or probably they tend to learn the least from an online system of learning, and the elder kids learn the most. India, of course, is going to take the exact opposite approach, and we are going to start from the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or the higher grades, and then come down slowly onto the primary and then into the preschool level. I'm going to move on to Miss Saima Anwar Khan, who's the former director of Banyan Tree School in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Miss Saima, over to you. 3.5 minutes.
Thank you so much, and welcome and good evening to all of you. I would just like to start off right at the onset, thank Blub World. I was the director of Banyan Tree School. I left my 9-to-5 job because of some personal problems, but let me assure you all, I was also taking online classes for Banyan Tree School, Delhi, English classes for 11th, 12th. I have not left them. I am still conducting the classes, and this is what online teaching has taught me, that we are connecting from Lucknow to Delhi. I have reassured my students that in spite of not being with the school, I am with my students. And this is what the power of an educator is with the students. We must remain the connect, whether online or offline. We all will agree that we are in a total VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, as well as ambiguous. And we have to change this entire acronym of the VUCA world. So I started believing and following Dr. Sri Paramahans Yoganand's profound saying, be calmly active and actively calm. And that has actually helped my students, my teachers, and myself by remaining calm. We are talking a lot about the education, finishing of the syllabus, but we are not actually stressing upon the SEL, and that is the social and emotional learning of the students. We have to stress upon that. That is, how can we actually keep them calm? Unnecessarily, students are getting very worried. They are even forgetting to be disciplined. As one of the esteemed panelists said, we were waking up early in the morning. Why is it so difficult to wake up for the online classes? So here we must form the team with the parents, the educators, and of course, the students are our subjects. Let us discipline the students. That whether it is our online class, where we must create. So for SEL, the best form that we must follow should be create an ambience, integrate, communicate, instruct, and empower our students. Not to just be educated through books, but educated for life itself. Whether it is a pre-primary student or it is of 11th, 12th, and for us, the senior educators, our students should be the young teachers also. So let us empower them. And once again, I would like to say, let us, all of us, step out of this VUCA, the volatile world, and be calmly active and actively calm. This is my mantra, which I'm following. And I promise you all, it has truly helped. I have taken online classes for role plays. I conducted a red party during Christmas where we all were in red and we discussed a red hot topic like the farmers' agitation. So the students.
Yes, sorry about that. The time's up, but thank you. And the one word, if I have to say what stood out in this entire message of yours, ma'am, was that empower. And when the word empower is said, a lot of people throw it around quite freely. But how do we truly empower our students? That's the most important thing. The highest form of learning that can occur in a child or even in a human, in an adult, is heutagogy. What is heutagogy? It's heuristic learning, the self-directed, self-owned learning, where the child is the owner of their learning, where the adult steps back and lets the child own that learning space. So empowerment is very, very required. And in a country like India, not only empowering students, but empowering teachers. A lot of times we are just too scared for our students or our teachers to go out and stub their toe on annual day. Oh, no, the teacher has to be there to make sure the children are okay. Why should the teacher have to make sure? Let the children be front and center. They'll stub their toe. They'll learn from it. That's the best thing that could happen. So let's truly empower our students and our teachers and make leaders out of them. With that, we'll move on to the next speaker, who is a vice principal from SBDS Convent School in Punjab, Ms. Jasmine Karan Dhaliwal.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening to everyone. I would like to thank Blub World, who is continuously connecting me and inviting me for all the sessions. And being in a very remote area and in Punjab, the situation is very clear to everyone. We are facing the very first thing that we are not able to call back the students to the schools. This is the major issue that we are facing. And then next is the guidelines and SOPs that are issued by the government. There are many schools, many schools, they are not being followed by the schools. That is the main problem. So though today I was as an audience, so I can know the views of all the educationists. But here I have a question, that blended learning that is coming into our syllabus, we can say curriculum, but we are not able to do so because we are not getting physical presence of the students in our classes. And on online also, we are not getting students to come online and have classes. We are facing this issue. So I would like to know whether you have answers for all these questions. Thank you.
Yes, I can understand for schools that don't have access, or children that don't have access to devices, and that's why they don't come online. That's a totally different question. But for children who do have access to devices and yet their parents are not signing in, or they're not sending their children to schools, that's seriously an area of concern. I think you all will have to do a lot of soul searching, introspection, as to try to figure out what are the reasons. Why do they not find a value in the teaching learning process? Initially, when it happened we went online about 29th of March, and by mid-April, we had started seeing better numbers of online classes attendance. And then after the summer, the numbers became as high as 95, 97% of students were attending online, because the value was seen in that to the parents. So I would say do some soul searching, do some introspection of why are parents not finding value in it? If they find value in the online class, or even in the physical class when you're allowed to reopen, they should be sending the child. If they don't see value, you will have to understand what the reasons are for why they're not finding value in it. But thank you for your points, Ms. Jasmine. And I believe Punjab has actually allowed standard 5th onwards to reopen the schools. So I think it's the first state in India that is allowed all the way up to 5th. Most of the other states are still somewhere between standard 9 and 12 that have got permissions. Moving on, Ms. Tarang Gaur, who's the principal of GAV Public School in Jhajjar, Haryana, is going to share her thoughts on redefining and restarting education.
Good evening, all, and thanks again for the Bloveword and Daksh for inviting me again. And this is actually the beautiful platform where I can even meet the all learned people all together. So thanks again, Daksh. And my point of view on this is, I personally feel that learning in challenges is a way to be innovative more. So that is whatever we have learned throughout this pandemic season. So this was the specific learning. I personally feel out of my 21 years experience of teaching at the various level, and even doing the work at the admin level or the CBSE coordination work, I didn't even think about, and no one actually thought about this, कि one day we will completely dependent on the online or something like that, right? So it's like a few of the people only were even doing this blended learning or something like that. All the things were like, oh, that person is taking the classes from abroad or something like that. It was the fashion. But now this is the new normal. Right? So the new normal comes like that we need to go and we need to accept whatever the challenges have given the challenge for us. That the COVID was the challenge for every one of us, and we need to even accept it. So my concept, my thought is definitely, I agree with lots of whatever people already have been spoken about the blended learning. That is the first and most requirement of the day, that we need to go for the online as well as the offline. Even we can go for like that, because the school, running a school means we are actually affecting everywhere. If every one of you remember the time, the environment of March end, I personally feel that we have reached at our childhood, the so clean environment that the sky you can enjoy, the weather you can enjoy, the greenery you can enjoy. So point of view of that also, thinking of all the things in mind, we can even go for like that we can even keep the school even 4 days offline and 2 days for online. So that way we can even go like the real blended learning, because keeping all the classrooms recorded and keep that is okay. So many of the schools, so many of the universities are already doing this. But in this way, the practical way of the blended learning can be done in a...
Yes, absolutely, Ms. Gaur. Thank you so much. And you're absolutely right. We're preparing our children for jobs that don't exist yet. They're going to be solving problems that we don't even know are problems yet by using technologies that haven't even been invented yet. And here we are trying to set... I've spoken to some top educators from across India, and they told me, Raghav, I can tell you in 2022 August what I've got planned for my students already. Well, that's the beauty of life. It's uncertain. You can't plan so far ahead. As educators, all of us love to plan year ahead, and we have these annual planners and we like to be organized. But my appeal to all educators is, rather than trying to pin down life to these boxes of certainty, these pigeonholes of certainty, let us learn to embrace uncertainty. That's where the beauty of life lies. So with that, I'd like to invite the next speaker, Mr. Akash Raut, who's the principal of First Steps IB World School in Chandigarh. Mr. Raut, what do you think about redefining education?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Podar sir. It's really a great opportunity to share the platform with all the eminent personalities like you all. So I'll keep it short and crisp. We have titled this session as Restarting Education, and I use the synonym of redesigning education, because 2020 for me was the beautiful destruction. And I call it a beautiful destruction. It's an oxymoron in itself, because change is inevitable and we all are part of change. And when the change is positive, only then the society that we live in will bear better fruits. And I guess 2020 has taught that for us. Now, as an educator, I see a shift in paradigm was always needed. We were like laid back and we were under the impression what education system we always had, not just in India, but around the world, was doing its job really well. But with this beautiful destruction, there is a revamping that's coming into picture. And that's why I feel the concept, which I always believed in, that education is not a right, education is a collective responsibility, is coming into picture now. And with times, 21st century skills, which we had already coined for ourselves, including collaboration, creativity, communication, or critical thinking, I guess the fifth C is now coming into picture, that is coping. Because each one of us has coped in our own ways and manners. And young learners, the budding learning minds, have found their own incredible ways of living in the 21st century. And I personally feel they are getting ready for the challenges. So like most of you who spoke about the logistics part, I would focus more on the pedagogical aspect of what teaching learning would be in the coming times. So what I jotted down for myself was, number one, as Saima ma'am clearly mentioned about SEL, humanization is more important now, because we don't need more robots. We don't need our learners to just focus on what's there in the textbook. We need to move out of that paradigm. Secondly, we need to help our learners and ourselves also understand that context is everything. Rather than teaching, educating, facilitating them with what, start with the why question. Why are we learning this? What is it going to create an impact for all of us? Move on towards how, and then focus on what. Because students are well versed with what are we learning. The facts and the knowledge is already there in front of them. What they die for is, where do we apply it? And that is where I connected with my third one, that is skills versus content. This has always been a challenge because people have not understood that curriculum is a different aspect than syllabus. So let's focus on holistic curriculum for our learners and not just completion of syllabus. And while doing all of this, we need to have the policy of deep contemplation. Reflection for learners, educators, and all the stakeholders is really the need of an hour. Lastly, I would like to add the element of agency. Earlier, we had the concept of teacher plans, teacher teaches. Now it is going to be we plan and we learn. Why don't we make students as a co-equal partner in our learning and give them a chance of what they need to learn? And I would share my experience where we actually give students a chance to focus on the sustainable goals. There are 17 goals which are already being pointed out by the UN. Why not each one of them take the 18th goal that they want to do? And I feel if we focus on this, we are going to create a lifelong learner, a responsible citizen for the future, which, as Podar sir mentioned, in the next 10 years, we really don't know what professional lives they are going to get into and the world is actually going to look like. So rather than experimenting with the future, why not we try to tweak in some new strategies and redesign our education system now? Thank you.
Wow, what a wonderful note to have our last speaker speak on. Mr. Raut, very well spoken. I must say that your points have hit home on most of the points. And apart from education, I'm sure you also have a good career as an orator, as a public speaker, because you speak very smartly. But to point out a few of the points that Mr. Akash spoke about coping. Yes, very right. And not only coping, in fact, let's go a step ahead and talk about excelling. It's not only about coping mechanisms. Maybe it was about coping in March or April, but from post-summer, the children are excelling at this kind of learning as well. So wonderful. I liked also what you spoke about, moving from content mastery to competence mastery. So it's not about content, but about skills development. And I must tell you, CBSE is also looking at this very, very strongly. They are taking obviously baby steps on towards it, but they are moving very well towards making examination and assessments not only about content mastery, but about competence mastery. So it's not only about how much you can mug up and how much you can memorize and regurgitate, but how you can apply those thoughts and skills. Because in the 21st century, the world economy is not going to reward you for how much you know, but for what you can do with what you know. Not for the amount of knowledge that you have, but for how you apply the knowledge that you have. So with that, I think it's been a wonderful session. Some very, very good points have been brought out by most. I'm sorry to the people who were not able to finish their points. As educators, I do know how much we love to speak, but this is the time for everyone to get a chance to speak. So we had to cut some people off, but the points are well taken. My appeal, very strong appeal to all of you. All of you are touching the lives of hundreds and thousands of children who are entrusted to you. Let us use platforms like these to truly benefit our learners inside the classrooms, the last student in the last bench also. That is why we are having these kind of platforms. That is why BloveWorld and Daksh and Divya are holding these kind of fora, so that the children benefit. If the children benefit, then this discussion between all of us will truly be fruitful. So take the points that you thought were the best, and without just passing it on, here are some few points, and pass it on to your vice principal or pass it on to the coordinator. That's not the way it's going to work. You'll have to take a deep dive in with these points of which are the ones that hold value to you, and let us go out there and make a difference in this world. Because as educators, we are the ones who are bringing up the future of this country. Hats off to all of you. Thank you for being educators. Acharya Deva Bhava, Guru Deva Bhava. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Raghav ji. You took this platform with you. आपने उसको पूरा एकदम next level ले गए. Thank you so much for giving your time, इतना सारा effort. And आज इतने सारे educators को BloveWorld ने एक बहुत basic कोशिश की थी that हम लोग कोई एक ऐसा platform ना बन जाए जहाँ पे एक ही तरीके की opinions की repository बन जाए. इसीलिए हम लोग हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे हर एंगेजमेंट को इस तरीके से प्लान करते हैं कि उसमें ज्योग्राफिकल वैरायटी हाईएस्ट हो, कि गलती से भी एक ट्रेंड ना बन जाए और उसी के आसपास हम घूमने ना लग जाएं, आइडिया की डेमोक्रेसी बनी रहे. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, इंडिया जैसा देश, जहां जिस देश को डेफिनेशन ही एक टीचर ने दी. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट इंडिया, वी टॉक अबाउट चाणक्य वो पहला व्यक्ति था जिसने इंडिया को इंडिया के जैसे विजुअलाइज किया और इंडिया को उसका किंग चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य दिया जिसने भारत बनाया. Who literally imagined, जो ड्राइंग हम आज बनाते हैं उस ड्राइंग का सबसे नियरेस्ट रेप्लिका चाणक्य ने इमेजिन किया था, तो एक भारत जैसी चीज हुई थी पैदा. सो दैट्स द पावर दैट इंडिया हैज. और अगर यहाँ के टीचर्स एम्पावर्ड नहीं होंगे तो कहाँ के होंगे? सो दिस इज वेयर वी नीड टू नाउ पुट आवर ब्रेन्स टू, कि वेयर डू वी वांट टू टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड. आपके पास एक मौका है कि पूरी दुनिया ने एक साथ सब कुछ डिसरप्ट कर दिया है, और डिसरप्शन के बाद सबसे अच्छी चीज एक होती है कि कुछ नया बनता है. So I think यहाँ पे we should all become the phoenix, या at least education को तो phoenix बनने दीजिए जो अपनी ashes में से वापस खड़ा हो जाए या वापस पैदा हो जाए. I just want to quote a small piece from a book that I read. देवदत्त पटनायक की किताब है, उसमें उन्होंने एक बड़ा अच्छा सा कॉन्सेप्ट लिखा है जो टीचर्स के लिए बड़ा पर्टिनेंट है. Before this call comes to an end, उन्होंने सारे स्टूडेंट्स को जो आपकी क्लास हैं उनको पांडवों में बांट दिया है, और 5 तरीके के पांडवों में सारे स्टूडेंट्स आप डिवाइड कर सकते हैं आपकी क्लास के. सबसे पहला पांडव जो है वो है युधिष्ठिर. He is the king. So he always expects somebody else to know the answer and he won't ever know the answer. तो एक तरीके के बच्चे ये होंगे जो युधिष्ठिर होंगे, जो हमेशा किसी और से जवाब चाहेंगे. दूसरे भीम होंगे, a man of strength and who prefers to do rather than think. इससे आप पूछिए मत, ये सोचेंगे नहीं, ये कुछ कर देंगे, बस आप इनसे कुछ करवा लीजिए. They are the people who can execute. तीसरे अर्जुन, they'll be the archer. वो हर सवाल को एक तीर समझेंगे और उस तीर पे अगला तीर देंगे, मतलब उस सवाल पे एक सवाल दे देंगे, जवाब की तरफ नहीं जाएंगे. They'll always try and fight it out with you. चौथे तरीके के बच्चे होंगे नकुल. They are the handsome ones. but they are not capable of thought. उनसे सोचना समझना मत कर भाई, वो उनके बस का नहीं है. That's where they fail. And finally, सहदेव, ये वो बच्चे हैं जिन्हें सब समझ में आ रहा होगा, ये ऑब्जर्व भी कर रहे होंगे, ये मैनिपुलेट भी कर रहे होंगे, लेकिन इनका चैलेंज ये है कि जब तक आप पूछिएगा नहीं, ये आवाज भी नहीं निकालेंगे, ये बोलेंगे भी नहीं. तो इन 5 पांडवों में आप अपनी पूरी क्लास का डिवीजन कर सकते हैं, पूरे स्कूल का कर सकते हैं. एंड द पॉइंट इज, द रीजन व्हाई आई कोटेड दिस टेक्स्ट वाज वेरी सिंपल. अब जब आपके बच्चे वापस स्कूल्स में आएंगे तो वैसे नहीं होंगे जैसे आपने उन्हें वापस भेजा था. You'll now have to regroup them, rethink about them, retest them. शायद एक बेसलाइन टेस्ट बनाना पड़े जिसके बेसिस पे आप उनको वापस से एक नई ट्रैजेक्टरी की तरफ ले जा सकें. क्योंकि कुछ भी कीजिएगा, बैक टू नॉर्मल मत हो जाइएगा. क्योंकि बहुत अमेजिंग स्किल्स इतने समय में बच्चों और टीचर्स ने गार्नर कर लिए हैं. डोंट लेट दैट गेट लॉस्ट इन द होल जर्नी ऑफ रीस्टेबलाइजिंग, रीस्टार्टिंग एजुकेशन. और शायद हम डिसिप्लिन में ये ना भूल जाएं कि ये सब कुछ हो बच्चों के लिए रहा है. जैसा एक वन ऑफ द स्कूल लीडर्स शेयर्ड, उन्होंने जब स्कूल चालू किया कर्नाटका में, अटेंडेंस 3 से 12% के बीच में थी. और ऐसे में जितने बच्चे आए थे, दे वांटेड टू लाई डाउन आफ्टर एवरी 15 मिनट्स, क्योंकि वही वो घर पे कर रहे थे और उन्हें घर के सोफे का कंफर्ट चाहिए था जो स्कूल के फर्नीचर में नहीं है. तो उस एटमॉस्फेयर से उनको रीअलाइन आप कैसे करेंगे, और वो भी बड़े शांति से, बड़े आराम से, कि वो रफ एजेस ना हो. Because that's the only way that you'll be able to retain that self learner जिसको आपने इतनी ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में इतनी पढ़ाई करके बनाने की कोशिश की है. So don't let lose that image, that perception जो एक बच्चे को नई स्किल मिली है वो छूट ना जाए. So as always, before this call comes to an end, आज जो टॉप 3 आइडियाज या टॉप 2 आइडियाज राघव जी सेलेक्ट करेंगे, उनको कल 10 तारीख को सुबह 9 बजे से 1 बजे तक के बीच में ब्लब वर्ल्ड अवार्ड करेगा. We have an amazing lineup of guests for you tomorrow, starting with the chairman of All India Council for Technical Education, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. We have Padma Shri Gauri Ishwaran talking about her innovative strategies for 2021. Then after her, we have Dr. Sanjay Roy, the founder of Jaipur Literature Festival, talking about literature and children and why do teens' opinions matter. तो इन सारी चीजों पर हम बहुत सारी बात करेंगे. And we have an amazing surprise for all of you, जिसका कल एक छोटा सा प्री लॉन्च है जो आपको सुन के समझ के पार्टिसिपेट करके अच्छा भी लगेगा, जो ब्लब वर्ल्ड 2021 में करेगा करीबन 1 लाख टीनेजर्स के साथ. एंड एज ऑलवेज बिफोर दिस कॉल कम्स टू इट एंड, एक छोटी सी टीनेजर की स्टोरी वेयर ब्लब वर्ल्ड कम्स फ्रॉम. वी बिलीव इन अ वेरी सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ टीन्स इंस्पायरिंग टीन्स. हर महीने हम दुनिया भर में ऐसे बच्चे ढूंढते हैं जो कुछ बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं एंड उनकी स्टोरीज दूसरे बच्चों के साथ शेयर करते हैं. तो टुडे दिस स्टोरी कम्स टू यू ऑल द वे फ्रॉम रियो डी जेनेरो, ब्राजील. ये बच्चा पैदा हुआ विद अ डिफॉर्मिटी वेयर हिज फिंगर्स वर फ्यूज्ड, हिज लेग्स वर आल्सो फ्यूज्ड एंड ही वाज व्हीलचेयर रिडन. व्हीलचेयर छोड़ नहीं सकता था, लेकिन उसके पेरेंट्स, उसके माँ बाप, उसके आसपास के एटमॉस्फेयर की ग्रिट इतनी जबरदस्त थी कि वो बच्चा व्हीलचेयर पे होते हुए भी वर्ल्ड सर्फिंग चैंपियन बन गया. एंड राइट नाउ होल्ड्स द टाइटल टू बी द वर्ल्ड सर्फिंग चैंपियन. And he right now lives in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He's only 13 years old, and that was the cover of Blub World some time back. David Texier. We gave him a special title that we call Super Able. लोग डिसेबल होते हैं, he's super able. और ऐसे बच्चे आपके पास हर जगह हैं, और हमें इन स्टोरीज को प्रिजर्व करना और आगे बढ़ाना अब बहुत ज्यादा क्रिटिकल है. Because education is no more about imparting anymore. It's about inspiration. So I hope you enjoyed the last 60 minutes that you spent with us. If you did, and if you want to attend the future sessions, open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for being a part of the Blub World's 4th Global Education Meet. Thank you so much, people. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
God bless.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Raghav ji. Thank you so much, Amita ji. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your time, effort with us. Thank you.